Now look here, I don't know about you, but I think most people in the world, including myself, will at some point in their life suffer from a dicky back, which can be a real pain when your planter box is down low and you need to tend to your herbs and veggies. Oh, there it goes. Oh. Medic, I need a medic. Now on the topic of dicky backs and planter boxes, two things. Number one, what do you call an Egyptian spine manipulator? A chiropractor. Sorry about that. And number two, with the planter boxes, I'm going to help all of you out there with bad backs by building a raised mobile planter box out of scrap wood that's going to make tending to your plants and veggies that much easier. Let's do it. G'day folks, Uncle Knackers here from DIY for Knuckleheads. Now if this is your first time here and you want to see more simple DIY projects like the one we're making today, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. That way you won't miss anything. Alrighty, this planter box, it's going to be awesome. Let's do it. Now in today's video I'm going to show you how to build this super simple raised garden bed or planter box out of these old hardwood fence palings, which I've managed to salvage from a mate who was pulling down his side fence, and I'll be cutting these down to a width of 80mm at a later stage. Now the hardwood fence paling is a great choice because it's durable and suitable for outdoor use. It's a fence paling. That's what it's for, and the fact that it's been salvaged means that it's free and that's also pretty attractive. But if you want to go the extra mile and the extra expense, cedar is probably the best you can get, but for us this will do the job nicely. Now dimension wise for the planter box, all I'm doing is dropping 3 of these plastic containers into that planter box frame, only because I have 3 of these at home already, so it's not going to cost me any more money. So whatever size container you have, you'll need to adjust the planter box frame to suit. Now if you haven't got a table saw, don't panic. You can still use your trusty old circular saw, and all you need to do is to attach the saw guide that comes with the saw, set it to your desired cutting width, tighten it off, and you're good to go. And remember, when doing this process, make sure the saw is unplugged because you don't want to lose any of these. Cool. And this is what we have after everything has been cut. We have 2 panels for the ends and 2 panels for the sides. But before we start assembling anything, I just want to give the edges of these boards a little bit of an arris or a bevel, because right now it just looks a little flat and boring. So we're adding an arris or a bevel to those edges. When the 2 boards meet up, that should now look a little more interesting. And just remember, if you haven't got a hand planer or something similar, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Okay, the first step in the assembly process is that we need to nail these end panels together. So just get the edges nice and straight, nice and tight, and then we'll simply nail these 2 pieces on like that. And this is the inside of the planter box. A bit of glue never goes astray. And then just simply nail these on. Beautiful. Now you may also see that some of those nails have just popped through. I'm not worried about that because there'll be a leg going over the face of these boards, so you're not going to see it. And you can probably see better now how after we arris those boards, how that joint is now expressed and looks a bit better. Yeah, I like it. With the two ends now finished, all we need to do is to nail these side slats in place and bang, Bob's your uncle. How simple is that? Oh yeah, and a good tip, to keep these upright while all this action's going on over here, just attach a couple of clamps down low and you're good to go. Good stuff. Alrighty, that's the basic shell for the planter box all done. But before we attach the legs and the capping, I want to give this a really good sand. It's looking good. Beautiful. Alrighty, it's now time to cut the legs. Now I'm going for a very simple configuration of just a couple of slats nailed together, just like that. Too easy. And the overall length of our legs is 740 millimeters. To assemble the legs, it's a really easy process. All you need to do is to apply some glue to one edge. Lovely. And then just simply nail the other one directly on top. Too easy. Now to attach the leg, it's a piece of cake. All you need to do is to apply some glue to that face and that face there, and then just simply line the leg up flush with the top of the planter box, drive in a couple of nails, and bang, you are done. Too easy, lemon squeezy. Awesome. Now there's one more quick thing that I want to do to these chunky old legs, and that is I want to get rid of the chunkiness, and we'll do that by cutting a splay, as you can see there. So if we go in 45 millimeters from this edge, make a mark, and from the underside of the planter box and down 50 millimeters and make a mark, and we'll cut along that line. And that 45 millimeters, that should be just enough so we can screw on some casters. And on the end of the planter box, instead of going in 45 millimeters, we're going in 60 millimeters. Still 50 from there, but down here, we're going in 60 from the outside edge. The next thing we need to do is to glue and nail a stick of timber to the inside of the planter box. And this is where the lip of the plastic container is going to sit on. Beautiful. Now before you install the containers, you'll also need to add this support in the center, which will help stabilize those slats. All right, the next job on the agenda is to attach these lockable casters. Now make sure you pre-drill the holes first before driving in your screws, because you don't want to split the wood. What a little ripper. Stay with me folks, we're almost there. All I'm doing now is adding a bead to the inside edge of that top slat, and that will just give us a bit more width to nail our capping into. And just be aware, don't make this piece too wide, otherwise your plastic containers won't fit in. Now, as you can see, those plastic containers are now in place and it looks fantastic. Now all I want to do is to add some capping around the top, just like that. Now, as you can probably see with these end caps, I've left a bit of a gap, a bit of play there. I just think it looks a bit better. And also, if they're different thicknesses, you won't notice it as much. And I think when we get to the edge here, I'll hand nail rather than gun nail. That way there'll be less chance of this splitting. Whoop, I think that was a bit too close to the edge. Just a few seconds ago, you saw me cutting those grooves in those palings. Well, I've cut those to the width of the planter box and then nailed them underneath. And now we have somewhere for a drip tray to slide in and out of, which is really handy. But it does look a bit ugly. So all I've done is I've cut a cover strap, which I'll just simply screw in place. And whenever you want to empty those drip trays, just unscrew it, remove the drip tray, and you're good to go. Too easy. Okay, we're now on the home stretch, and all I'm going to do is apply a couple of coats of this decking oil. I was tossing up whether to actually put a coating on it, but I'm going to run the gauntlet, give it a go, and see how it turns out. Not going too bad, a bit darker than what I wanted though. Hold the phone folks, what an idiot. I went totally against my gut feeling, and I knew that as soon as I started to apply that oil that I hated it, but I kept on painting. Thick as 2 bricks. Anyway, 3 hours of sanding later, plus extra sandpaper, and I'm back to square one where I wanted to be in the first place. The mind boggles as to my stupidity at times. Actually, it doesn't surprise me at all. Now, one last job to finish off the planter box is I've made this very simple frame out of an old pallet, and all I'm going to do is, with my staple gun, staple on this sheet of wire mesh, which will act as a wall for our climbing plants to grow on. And if you have kids, an added bonus is that this will help protect your precious plants from all things soccer balls, cricket balls, volleyballs, tennis balls, frisbees. Now, if you want to go a bit more hardcore with your stapling, this style of staple here is the one for you. Once these bad boys go in, they're not coming out. Beautiful. And here she is, all done and dusted. What do you reckon? I absolutely love it, and so does my back. Great tip, knackers! Well, I hope you enjoyed and found that video useful, and if you want to see more simple projects like the one we've just done, make sure you click on my playlist over there. And if you could give this video a big thumbs up, that would also be greatly appreciated. Alrighty. After all that, I think I need a cup of tea. So till next time, be good, be safe, and have yourselves a very Merry Christmas. Cheers.